Phone Booth Productions.
Here's the thing.
Well, I get up around 7, get out of bed around 9. I don't worry about nothing, no, because worry's a waste of my time. Show usually starts around 7, we go on stage around 9. Get on the bus about 11, sipping a drink and feeling fine. Hello.
What's up, everybody? This is going to be a different kind of an episode for Here's the Thing today. We're going to do a little crossover action with Myer from the Myer Show. How you doing, buddy?
Good, brother. How are you doing, man?
Doing good. And we're going to touch on something today that doesn't get talked about maybe enough. And you know, a lot of people go through things like addiction and whatnot. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And you know, we were on a podcast together. Oh man, what was it? About two months or so ago, and somehow the topic had come up, and then we talked afterwards and said, "Shit, we should just do a whole episode about it." You know,
100%.
I can't even remember how it came up, but I mean, I'll go ahead and kick this off and say, you know, shit, I was an addict for a long time, man. Probably almost 15 years, maybe. And it started, you know, with pills, and then everything else, and led into heroin. You know, at the end I was a heroin addict, you know.
It's crazy, no? It's crazy how it just like slips.
It's crazy how it builds too, you know. But you know, and I've talked to therapists about this shit before too, and it's just, you know, it's crazy to me. You know, there's a certain honesty in drugs that make them sexy. You know, they work, they do what they're supposed to, you know.
It's true.
uh you know, that's kind of a shitty thing to say, but it's true. They work. And you know what really sucks though today is people are cutting drugs with other things, you know, and so that's causing a lot of problems amongst drug users, you know.
100%, man. And
um
all the synthetic stuff that's out there too, you know? That's not to be saying like we're promoting it anyway, just so everyone knows. I did drugs for fucking over a decade, and the whole purpose of doing stuff like this is honestly one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this with you wasn't just to get our story out there and for people to see that there's other people out there that are just like them. But the thing is, there's so many people out there, especially men, even women. I know tons of women that are in recovery or addiction counseling and stuff. And the thing is, you know, we always think the same thing. I remember when I was fucking using, and my my ex would be like, "Hey, listen, you know, because I used to go back and forth from Europe to here constantly, and I was there and I was here, and I was there and I was here, and the only place I wouldn't be doing drugs would be Florida, and that was like 6 months of the year.
the cocaine capital
But
is the one place you didn't do drugs.
yeah, I'd avoid it. I'd avoid it because you know what? The thing I looked at was, you know, I don't want to ruin my status in the States. That's number one. Number two is, uh, you know, you get caught in Florida with that shit. It's not like you're getting caught in Toronto. Toronto, you get caught with fucking anything. They're not even gonna charge you. They give you a piece of paper to say, here's a promise to appear. Have a good day. Get the fuck out of here. You know?
So is
Down
it
there,
pretty much like up there, then it's all decriminalized, kind of like how they do
nothing.
in
You can do
Portland
whatever
and
the fuck you
Seattle and
want, man.
whatnot?
So Seattle is a great example of what's happening in places like Vancouver, Canada,
Vancouver,
and
yeah.
Toronto. Uh, they implemented like these stupid fucking, you know. And the thing is, I get it. I understand what I'm about to say. I get it works, but it doesn't work. So like, if you're telling a bunch of fucking fentanyl addicts or heroin addicts to come down to your local addiction counseling hospital or detox center, they're like, "Come here, we're gonna give you the needles.
Yeah.
Bring your drugs here. If they're not good enough, we'll give you drugs." Well, what do you think is going to happen? You think these people are going to want to get clean, or you're going to want to get high? Like, use your fucking brain. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, as an addict, I remember if I had cocaine on me and we're going to a cottage party and 20 other people had it also, guess what? I'm doing all mine. And then I'm going to come and ask you for something. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it was.
Well,
And
like some people function better on drugs. Like I'm not trying to
they
be an
do.
advocate for it. I'm not trying to justify it and say do drugs. But, like if you look at like at the turn of the century back, from the 1800s into the 1900s, you had all like these longshoremen and whatnot, and they would do heroin all day while they worked. I personally, I used to function better on, pills and then heroin. I wasn't like the guy that was shooting up, nodding off in the corner all the
Yeah.
time. I was the guy, I would smoke it or pop some pills and I would go to work, and
Yeah.
that's how I could function.
So I was the same way. Mine was when I was here, I would be working European hours. So I'd be up at like 3, 4 in the morning, working till 7 in the morning. And I'd get up at 7 in the morning from working and I would drive my kids to school. The fucked up part was I was on drugs. And the thing
Mhm.
is, like today, I don't even think about it. But, my point of what I was going to say at the start of this was that a lot of people don't know where to go. A lot of people don't know how to get help. And a lot of people are embarrassed and they're humiliated and they don't realize that the moment you let go of all that bullshit, that you have freedom. Like it's so fucking it's not easy, but it's so fucking easy. Because the moment you actually put your mind to it and you get around like-minded people, then it's not a cult, bro. People think it's a cult, doing like addiction counseling or going to meetings or whatever. It's not. It's literally free fucking therapy. That's what it is. Free
Yeah.
fucking therapy. If you have access to it, try it out.
Yeah.
But
So for me, once I got full blown into heroin, I was living down in Tucson at the time. And for a long time I knew that I wanted to get clean and get off it. And it's just like trying to find that right opportunity and that chance to do it. Well, something came out. Shout out to my boy Brandon Powers up in Las Vegas. He gave me a job up in Vegas, so I went to Las Vegas to get clean.
that's fucking
Which,
amazing.
yeah, that sounds crazy,
Which is
but
backwards. It's ass
right,
backwards,
and I
but yeah.
grew up in Las Vegas too, so growing up in Las Vegas, I know a ton of people there, so it's like, easy access to pretty much anything, and, but I went there and I went to a job and, I only ended up back there for like 7 or 8 months, but it got me clean, it did the trick, and then I moved, back down to the Phoenix area to be closer to the family, and uh, I relapsed. I drove all the way to Tucson to score, you
Oh
know,
fuck.
and then when I came back to town, a friend of mine had I was talking to her for some reason, and she wanted me to go to a meeting with her, and I thought it was all about me. I didn't know that she had her own issue going on. So we went there and I ran into David Ellefson from the band Megadeth, and that just got me straight. I bawled my fucking eyes out to him that day, and it was like something from above sent him there that day to help me get on the right path, and I've been clean since. So that's going on 9 years now.
That's fucking amazing, man.
And had I not met him, I don't know if I'd still be clean, you know.
I think about those moments all the time, man. So like with me, it was crazy. I remember how I started was so I always smoked weed or marijuana, as some people put it. So like I always smoked weed, and
Well,
even
full
today.
disclosure, I still smoke weed. Yeah,
So
and
I was gonna say to
I'll
you, I
still
was just
drink
gonna say something.
alcohol. Yeah.
So here's my thing. I'm just gonna get to it. So my thing was weed. That's where I started. But the weed didn't lead me into the other shit. They say gateway drugs, and I agree. I could see how it could work that way. So for me though, it was weed. And then what happened was in the early 2000s, there was the big boom of ecstasy.
Hmm.
Like the ecstasy comeback from the 90s where like people were just falling over dead everywhere. And then 2000s, everybody was good. It was clean E. So you'd start doing E. I remember we used to go to parties and the E wasn't addictive. We never got addicted to E, but it would become part of the routine. It would be like
Yeah.
your weekend routine. What are we doing this weekend? We're going to go fucking drink and we're going to pop some pills. Boom.
Yep.
Right. And then I remember going to Cancun, Mexico for US spring break. And just partying like a rock star in '04, and then coming back and everything was pretty good. I would do like, shrooms here, I do this here, that here, and I still don't have a problem with mushrooms either, in case anybody says anything. As long as you're doing it in a clean manner, I don't
Therapeutic
care.
way.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the thing. But then 07, 09 is when it started. I remember I played hockey with these guys, my buddies that I grew up with, and a couple of the guys were chopping coke to people. And when your buddy's selling it to people, it becomes free for you, and nobody gives a shit. Like, it's your buddies. Like, nobody in my area was like, you know, lucky. Knock on wood. Nobody was really poor. So the guys that were chopping, they didn't have to be selling. It made no sense. So they would just buy a lot and then just get rid of some of it, just cover the debt. You know what I mean? And then everything else was for everybody. So we used to get high. And I remember even one year, we went down to a place, in case somebody sees this in Cuba. I'm not talking about Cuba, but we went down to this place and this guy fucking smuggled the shit in. I was like, what the fuck? And then we ended up partying and doing that. And from that moment, I was fucking hooked. From that moment when I did coke down there, I was fucking hooked. I was hooked to the way it made me feel. I was hooked to the way it made me so fucking. I was already a talkative person, a partier. It made me like, the movie Limitless. It literally put me in that zone, and that's why when you said that some people are better on it, yeah, I was one of those people. So between 2008 to 2020, I was flying high basically 24/7. I was functional addict, and I would get real high all night and do tons of work, make tons of money, go fly back and forth from Toronto to Amsterdam to London to Edinburgh, England, fly back, go hang out with my kids, go to Florida, come back, go to Amsterdam. Like, it was just a fucking whirlwind of shit. But there was money, and when you're making money, you don't even think about that. And I'm part of the lucky addicts, because there's a lot of addicts who during their addiction they're not making any money. In fact, they're just going broke. And I always looked at my scenario, and I was such a fucking narcissistic piece of shit. And I still have like those character defects, I call them. But I still have them. I still have some of them. I'm still a cocky asshole when it comes to certain things. I still talk shit to somebody's face if they like talk stupidly to me. But the one thing I do have is humility. So like, I remember my ex, I'd go to, and me and her are on fucking great terms. I'm the luckiest person on the planet. She's the nicest fucking human. Comes from a great family. Everybody in their family is fucking amazing. Even though I don't have much relations with them in terms of family wise, but great fucking humans. Like, you look at the situation you had, and then you look at it and you're like, fuck, I fucked it up pretty good. Not just with her, just like with them, because they were such good people. And I look back at that and I'm like, fuck. But there was times I'd come back from Europe, and you go on a business trip for a week, 2 weeks, you come back and you want to see your kids and stuff. But when you're an addict, you don't give a fuck. I wanted to see my friends because I wanted to get high with groups of people, because I've been getting high by myself for the last fucking 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'd go out and come back, and she'd be home watching kids, and she would be like, hey, I know you're using. I'm not telling you to go to rehab. Go to a fucking meeting. And I would be like, no. You know what? I don't want to go because I'm going to see somebody I know there. There's a bunch of junkies there. Fuck those people. I'm not like them, blah, 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 blah. And then one day, everything, doesn't matter how much money, what car you're driving, blah, 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 house is paid off. None of that fucking shit matters. If you're with somebody who cares about you and they leave you, they're probably doing it for you. They're doing it for the best of you, because you're not going to be able to provide the safety and security, even if you're providing money. It doesn't make a difference. Safety and security is a big deal to women and the kids. And one day she packed up her shit and she left. And that was that. And for 2 years, still 2 years it took me to fucking even admit I had a fucking drug problem. And the funny part is, the moment I admitted it, it was like a fucking life changer for me personally. It like changed everything, because as much as you're like, oh, finally somebody knows I'm addicted to shit. You know what I mean? Like, I can finally say it out loud. That means if I can tell my mom, I can tell anybody else.
Right.
And then I did rehab, and the funny part was I finished that and I started using it again, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But it took one friend. One of my buddies came by, and I actually went to. So I'm a member of NA, Narcotics Anonymous. So everybody knows, even though you're not supposed to talk about it, I can talk about myself as openly as I
Right.
fucking want. So I do Narcotics Anonymous. I do try to help as many people as I can if I'm, you know, if I have that relative connection with somebody. But man, you know, I'll never forget. This guy came to my cottage, and I was up there. I literally isolated the fuck away from the city. At this point, like I relapsed, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna get myself the fuck out of here. I need to be somewhere where I have no access to anything." Like literally, when I say anything, I mean like if I wanted to go buy groceries, I'd have to drive 30 minutes away. So
Wow.
I'm going to my cottage. I went up there, and this guy comes, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on, Myer?" Myer is my real name, just so everybody knows it's not some fucking made up name. So uh, he comes up in my cottage, and he's like, "I almost shot myself with a gun on Saturday." I was like, "Oh,
Oh
interesting."
wow.
Like, keep this in mind. First he started off with, how's the quitting? I'm like, "It's fucking tough, bro." And then he told me that, and I was like, "Fuck." He's like, "How are you doing it?" I'm like, "I'm just staying up here. It's kind of fucked up." I go, "But this seems to be working." And this guy's dad had at the time like 37 years clean time, and his dad's fucking one of the funniest humans you'll ever meet in your life. Successful, and like you'd never even think this guy was ever a drug addict. But meanwhile, he was a heroin addict, hardcore, like hardcore. Like, you know, in the scene of, you ever watched the movie Blow when he's having the kid and he passes out in the fucking
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
in the birthing room, whatever it's called. Same type of fucking deal. The guy got a heart attack and everything, like while his wife was giving birth to this kid.
Damn.
And he's like, "My dad said that he can send us to a couple places." And his father runs now a bunch of rehabilitation clinics across the U.S. and Canada. So like he's involved. He's not like the owner, but he's involved. Like he's a shareholder in all these places. So he's got good contacts. So we decided to go check out a couple of NA meetings. And fuck, man, you know, when you go there and you realize, and you got to find the right meetings and the ones that fit for you specific, because not every meeting is gonna be right for person.
Well, it's like I said, you know, if I hadn't have run into that guy, Dave from Megadeth, that it wouldn't have registered with me. If it would have been just a regular meeting, it wouldn't have registered with me. But because I grew up around the music industry, I felt that connection to him, you know, and then
Immediately.
yeah, and we talked. He gave me his number right away, and you know, and then I started calling him, and you know, and it helped a
It's
lot. But you know
it's
what I
funny
thought
you
was
said that.
interesting, uh, you know, you were talking about the craze in the 2000s. It was the same way for me in Las Vegas at that same time. You know, it was like the ecstasy craze, and it was also the nightclub craze. That was when all the big
The
nightclubs started popping
nightclub
up in
craze, bro.
Vegas. Like, I mean, when I first moved there in the 90s, you know, there was Studio 54, there was a couple little places, but then in the 2000s, it was like just the mega clubs
Pure. They
started.
opened up Pure at fucking Caesar's Palace. I got
Yeah,
tossed out of there a bunch of times
yeah.
for asking for
That's
drugs.
actually one of the worst ones in Vegas too. Fuck
Yeah.
Pure.
I,
But
I hate that
you know,
place. Fuck you,
like
Pure.
me and the group of guys that I ran around with, we were all making really good money, you know, and we were going to the clubs. You know, it'd start on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Well, fuck it, we might as well
Sunday
go
night.
Sunday night too, you know. But and we worked from home, so it was like, you know, we didn't have to be all in the office on Monday morning, you know. But you know, we still ran legit businesses.
Yeah.
And I mean, the money was flowing. And I remember one time specifically when I just thought things were really crazy was we were at this club Curve at the old Aladdin back then. And my friend had some friends in town. And so it was like time to leave. We were going to take them to their hotel. And we said, well, why don't we just grab the first limousine and we'll go up and down the strip once and drop you off at your hotel? Like, cool. Well, we walk out, first limousine we see is a fucking 40-foot excursion limo, you know, fucking everything, the disco balls, the lights, everything. So we're like, all right, we said the first one. So we grab that up and down the strip, and you know, we're driving around, and now we're going to watch the sunrise, you know. And and then we ended up going to this house party, and we get to this house party, and I mean, they're just passing plates around with whatever drug you
Yeah.
wanted on it.
Of
There's a
course.
Coke
Yeah.
plate, there's an ecstasy plate, there's bottles of GHB in the fridge, and I mean, all kind. And it's in a regular neighborhood. It's not like it's at some closed off mansion, but anybody could just go through this neighborhood. There's kids waking up, getting ready to go to school and shit across the street. And we got this fucking limousine parked out right in front of the house, because we made them wait
Plates
for
being
us.
passed through the limo. Here you go, guys. Open the door.
No, we were in the house. We weren't even in the
I
limo.
know,
There's
I'm
just a
fucking
limo
with you.
sitting out front. We're paying, I think it was like $200 an hour for this fucking limo to sit out front. But, it's just like, just crazy shit like that every weekend. And so it makes it, I hate to use the word glamorous because that's not the best word to describe it, but you think, well, this is great. We're making tons of money. We're having tons of fun, and it's not, no, it doesn't seem like people are getting hurt, but then, that leads into, like, by the time I got to Tucson, it was like, that was it. And, people will say you have to hit rock bottom. I don't know if I agree with that term, because everybody's
don't.
rock bottom is different, first of all. And second of all, like, things could have gotten a lot worse for me. The 3 years that I was in Tucson, I probably lost a dozen people I knew to death and probably another dozen or so to jail. And that's just in the 3 short years I was there.
That's
Like,
fucking
I
crazy.
could have been one of those guys. I got lucky. I never caught a charge. I never got, you know what, dude? I got pulled over one time and I had a whole bottle of pills on me with no prescription label, and they gave them all back to me, and never charged me with anything. Like, I got so lucky that those are 50 felonies in that bottle right there.
Yeah, you see, just like that, man. It's
So
crazy, though.
yeah, I don't think you have to hit rock bottom in order to get clean.
No, and
Because
you
it
know
can
what?
always get worse.
Like you said, rock bottom is different for everybody. I think for me, it was more like contemplating. When I got sober, is when you realize where you've hit the bottom. And you can pick and choose when your bottom was, but until that point, you think the rock bottom is there. But the reality is, man, some people, I've seen it with my own fucking two eyes. Like, guys has been clean a year and like and goes out and fucking uses, comes back out. I had a buddy of mine. He didn't die. He's lucky, but he fucking went out and he used fentanyl and he was smoking it. And for 3 weeks, this guy came back. He's in his 50s. He looked like he was in his 70s. This guy, and skinny, fucking. I told him, I said, "Yo, bro, you look like you're 75 years old." I'm like, 3 weeks ago, you look like a jacked fucking construction guy. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then, like, I got another guy, and this guy, I tried to help him out so many times. And like everybody has, but like sometimes, it's hard to fucking open your eyes, bro. You want me to fucking open your eyes for you? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, the guy's like, "Oh, I have like 7 months clean. I'm good. I got to go back to making money. I got to fucking make money." So I'm like, get back to work. But he went right back to the same people that like were abusing him by that. I mean, like taking advantage of him while he was using and trying to make money with them. And he started living in some guy's fucking shed, bro. Like, you're living in a shed, bro. Like, it's a shed. This is Canada, eh? It's not fucking California, Vegas. It's not fucking Arizona. This is Canada. It gets fucking cold here, even in the summer times at nighttime. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
fuck, it's still 90 here today.
and then this guy ended up going from the shed to living in a tent in a park to doing drugs with his ex in a tent. And all I was thinking to myself is, I'm like, you're fucked. And then he got clean again. He went to detox. And I just talked to him just 2 days ago. And he's like, yeah, I'm working with my buddy. I'm making money. Everything's good. I'm like, yeah, you're using. He's like, no, no. I'm like, okay, where are you living? He's like, I'm in this guy's shed. I was like, bro, you're literally going down the exact same fucking path you were just on 4 months ago. You went to detox and rehab for 120 days just to come back out, do a little bit of work, pretend like you're clean, and then end up in the shed again. What do you think your next fucking place of living is going to be? It's going to be the same fucking park or a different park, living in a tent, getting all fucking whacked. And it's so hard to like explain that to people, but you know, drug addiction is not just an addiction. It's literally a fucking disease.
Well,
It's
yeah.
something that you're born with, and it's something that, just like cancer cells, it's hereditary. If your dad was an alcoholic, chances that you may have that in your system and become an alcoholic is all there, as they say it. But it comes down to you. You as a person, you got to have like a reason to live. You know what I'm saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
And until you come up with that reason, which is pretty simple. I mean, like I like waking up every day. Don't get me wrong. You don't see those opportunities happen. And like the thing is, nowadays, it's not what it was before, bro. Like we lived in a good time, and not to say like good time because of drugs, but we did. You know, when you're popping an ecstasy in 2004 or doing a line in 2008 or you're fucking doing MDMA or whatever the fuck you're doing the real shit. You're not doing some shit that's been stepped on 100 times before it gets to you.
Yeah.
You know, you're not doing fucking drywall mixed with some fucking real cocaine. You're doing cocaine if you're doing it. Excuse me for using the real term, but nowadays I've heard it. I've seen it with my own eyes. People like this guy OD'd. It was his first time he's ever done coke. The fuck, Or the best was Amsterdam. I have a good story about Amsterdam, and a lot of people are scared of Amsterdam. It has this reputation of, be careful, you're gonna get robbed, or you're gonna get raped, or you're gonna get beat up, or uh, all this other shit, or hookers and weed. That's why one distinguishes Amsterdam: red light district and drugs. But here's the thing.
Hey,
In
by the way, you
Amsterdam-
don't have to promote the Here's the Thing podcast on this one, but you should give
don't
the
worry.
Dualistic podcast a shout out.
Let's be a little dualistic about this. By the way, here's the thing: Tuesday nights, 6 p.m.
There you go.
Eastern Standard Time. But I remember, and at this point, my ex had come down and she was living with me down there for a few months, and even she was scared at first. I'll never forget. And I was like, I'm that guy. Like it's 4 a.m. Guess what? I'm going out for a walk. Let's go for a walk because everything's open. It never closes.
Yeah,
Things
same
close
thing in
at like
Vegas.
5 a.m. and reopen at 7. Yeah. So Amsterdam was never about people getting robbed and stuff. But you know what they did have was a lot of street dealers. And I'll never forget this. One night I'm sleeping. I wake up in the morning to how we get like silver alerts on your phone or amber alerts on your phone,
Yeah.
something like that, but in the Netherlands. And what it was saying was basically that last night there was 5 British kids. They bought street drugs. They thought it was cocaine. It was heroin. They made lines. They all did them. They all OD'd. They all died, all in one night. Okay, so Amsterdam used to balloon from Wednesdays to Monday mornings from 900,000 to like 1.2 million people. It was like 250,000 people there, like every fucking 4 days. Like it was mental, and you could tell that the city would balloon and not balloon, and go back to normal, deflate instantly. Like you'd be walking the streets on Tuesday, nobody around, just you. Go wherever the fuck you want to go. You want to go to the best restaurant? By all means, go. But on the Wednesday night, you ain't getting shit. Basically, you're lining up for everything. So these guys die on drugs. And the next morning, there was street signs. You know the traffic signs we have, the big orange ones with the orange writing like that? And it said this: if you see any street dealers, buy drugs off them. Just imagine what they're saying here. Buy drugs off them. They're not buying marijuana. You're buying chemical drugs at this point, right? Because it's legal to carry them. And then bring it to us. We'll give you a test kit. If it ends up being like heroin, right? Because they're selling heroin as cocaine for some fucking reason down there at the time, or whatever they were selling. If it ends up being this drug, you can bring us to the guy. We'll arrest him if it's the actual shit and give you 10,000 euros. 10,000 euros
to buy more drugs.
Bro, but in those 3 weeks that I was there for an extra 3 weeks and I left after. It was Christmas time. We were coming back. I remember there was no street dealers. It was like as if they just fucking disappeared. They all packed their bags and went back to Morocco or wherever the fuck they're from. And there was no dealers. And the city just went like upside down for like weeks. And, people were coming to town. I'm sure they were looking for drugs, but they're not getting nothing because all the street dealers are gone. And it was a real eye opener for me that like, why the fuck don't we have that? Like, bro, this one fucking city of 1 million people is able to operate like that instantaneously based on 5 fucking people going to the hospital last night and dying. Why is Toronto not able to do that? Why is LA not able to do that? Why is Seattle not able to do that? Why is Vancouver not able to do that? Like, Toronto has a population of 2 million people. The whole greater Toronto has like 5. But then you're talking about like LA, Orange County, You know, you have all these little counties that are surrounding
It's
LA. Well,
20
if you
million
add them up,
people.
yeah, LA, yeah, you know, like you can find ways to do shit within areas, and they just don't want to do it. And that's the sad part about North America is that we have a different mentality towards this type of shit. We have a this aura of like, you know, oh, you're a drug addict, you got a problem. But the thing is, some of these people, bro, are like some of the most capable, smartest fucking humans you'll ever see. If you can get
Sure.
these guys to be clean and get them back on board, they're gonna be able to do shit like Elon Musk is doing. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's a scary concept, and
Well,
when I see that, it drives me nuts.
what's crazy is that, like you were just saying, a lot of these addicts are good, smart people that can are capable of doing a lot of things, but this stigma around the drug culture, it turns them into criminals, you know,
Yep.
and that's a real problem. And there's a real strong argument for why drugs should be legal, because get rid of the crime, get rid of the cartels, get it so people can buy safe shit, and I mean that's kind of how it used to be. Most drugs were legal up until like 100 years ago, you
Yep.
know. And I think that that's a lot safer. What they're trying to do, like, in Amsterdam, and I think Spain is another one, or Portugal maybe.
Yeah,
uh
Amsterdam's totally legalized everything. So in Amsterdam, they just put up signs. So what it is this? Just before you go, I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry, but I am.
no, you're good.
So in Amsterdam right now, I could be walking around with cocaine in my pocket, heroin in my other pocket, fentanyl in the other pocket, everything. I have everything, as long as it's not beyond the gram. So if I have a gram, it's totally cool to carry. I could pull it out and do it. Nobody's saying a thing. But what they do is they advertise like no hard drugs here. So like they'll restaurant or bar or club will be like no hard drugs. And it's a hand. It's a picture of a hand. And it's like this and it says no hard drugs here. Uh, you're right about that part, and I think that's why what I was just explaining to you worked so well in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Was that people want the clean shit. People do want to do drugs recreationally and have a good time, and I have no problem with that. If you can do it, if you can handle doing shit recreationally, hey man, I can't stop you by all
Well,
means. You
look
know what
at
I
look
mean?
at how many people drink alcohol. That's no different than any of this shit.
That's recreational. Absolutely, I agree. Well, alcohol is considered a drug, anyways, in my
Yeah,
books. But I'll still have a drink here. I don't
absolutely.
have a problem with it. My problem was cocaine. But anyways, go on about Portugal and Spain. I want to hear this.
Well, no, what I was just going to say was how they've decriminalized it. It's too bad, that we can't do that type of approach to things here in America. But I think that, the like, I don't want to name the three-letter organizations, but we know who they are. They're the ones controlling the drug trafficking, and
Obviously,
they're making money off of it. You know what I mean?
right?
It's just, I mean, and it's no secret. If you look at in the '80s, that Tom Cruise movie, American Made,
Oh, bro, that great,
he
great
was
fucking movie. I know what you're talking about.
he was running drugs for who? Who got him out of
CIA,
trouble?
but
Our president, a former
yeah,
president.
no,
And I mean that shit's a true story, and that's just
it
wild
is
to think that
absolutely.
they're the ones controlling the flow of drugs into this country.
And it's still happening to this day. Like it's not like this.
Yeah.
What I just said the other day, bro. There was a video. Who is it? Some girl. She posted it on X. And like I love this because you know what? No offense to my American friends, and Canadians. Unfortunately, we love fucking action. We love action movies. We love to see shit blow up. That we have a problem with that. Like it's literally like our biggest thing is that like we love blowing shit up. Okay, we love fucking fireworks. We love fucking you're like that car doesn't run anymore. Fuck it. Should I give it away? No, blow that thing
Blow
up.
it up.
Let's fucking
Drive it off a
take it to the
cliff.
cottage. Take it to the cottage. Let's use that thing as a fucking shooting range. You know what I mean? Like that's North America. But the thing is, like, I saw this video and it's Trump's fucking guys blowing up speedboats in the ocean. Cartel. Bro, as much as I want to believe it that you're doing it for like the right reasons, I also look at like you motherfuckers own Hollywood. How the fuck can I tell if that's real or not? Like, get the fuck out of here. What? You just randomly saw a boat in the middle of the water with some bags in the front. You from fucking up there, you distinguished it was cocaine, so for sure you're gonna blow it up. What if there was a bunch of fucking like ocean garbage the guys are tossing into the fucking boat?
Yep.
I'm just looking at the most simplest fucking way. And you just think about it, you're like, well, if it was this fucking easy, motherfuckers, Where the fuck have you been since the 1980s? I
Yep.
mean, we had the fucking 1980s Colombian cartel battles in the middle of fucking Miami for years. We had it in LA for years. We had it in Chicago going on even now for years. You have it in New York City, except New York City is ran by the New York mob, so it's a little bit different. Philadelphia, ran by the fucking New York, same guys, Italian mob, controlled. Montreal, Italian mob, controlled. You can't fuck with that shit. But then when you get like guys coming in, and this is not being racist in any way, but a lot of the movement in North America right now is happening by the Haitians. You know what I mean? So like you got cities like Montreal where there's fucking battles going on right now. You got the fucking Italian mob fighting the Haitian mob. Like there's a reason for it. It's not mystery. It's over drugs. It's not over hookers and fucking nightclubs, bro. Like you know what I mean? And then you look at the big picture. It's like if you were able to stop these guys so easily, where the fuck have you guys been for the last 30 years? Are you telling me it was this fucking easy? You could just blow up a couple of fucking boats, hit a couple of planes out of the sky over the ocean, and be like, okay, we stopped them all. You know what I mean? Because if it was that easy, tell me why you're not doing it with the trucks. Like you got X-rays, fucking the size of trucks driving through, and what they're all just driving through, no problem. Because what? No one's doing the job, or somebody's getting paid with envelopes every time somebody's coming through. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's the same people that we were just talking about running them, in the 80s. They were running the coke into the United States and I'm sure even Canada. And then,
For sure.
Freeway Ricky Ross talks about how he worked for the CIA and he brought crack into the hoods in LA and distributed all over. And then they locked him up and then he got out and wrote a book and about it and everything. And it's just
Even White Boy Rick.
White Boy Rick. Who's that?
There's that guy that made a movie about him, White Boy Ricky.
I have to look into that. But it's just wild because they could put a stop to things. All you got to do is make them legal, and it would stop the cartels and the crime that goes along with that. It might bring on other issues, but it's all in how you regulate it. And I don't claim that I have the answer. I'm not the fucking sharpest marble.
Of course not. Neither am I. Let me ask something. So, like, this is one of the reasons why I really wanted to do a talk with you was, like, I know that, like, we all got started in a similar stupid way. People, places, things, But how did you stop?
Well, like I said, it took me my friend giving me a job in Las Vegas, and then me hopping on a Greyhound bus to go up there and you know, it's like for me, it was easier to kick heroin than it was pills. Pills was a motherfucker to quit. Heroin was kind of easy. The first about 2-3 days were kind of hard, and then it was easy after that. And I always would tell myself that anytime I ever try to quit, I just got to get through the first 3 days, and then it'll be easier. And I kept that mentality. And then when I got to Las Vegas, it was like, all right, I don't have it around me now, and I can do this, no problem. And then knowing that I was going to be able to start working and making money, like my friend had opened a bar up there. And so I was going into the bar business, of all things. And it worked, And then unfortunately, about 7 months into it, I just wasn't making the money that I needed to make. So I moved back down to Phoenix, to be closer to the family and whatnot. But without that opportunity, I may still be in Tucson smoking heroin. And I'll be honest with you. I've been clean now for 9 years, a little over 9 years. And if somebody walked right up to me today and was like, hey, you want a hit of this heroin? I would have a hell of a time saying no. I'm not going to lie. I would probably do it. I would regret it, and I'd be all right because I wouldn't fucking get the person's number and I wouldn't make any contact with because I don't want to get wrapped up in that lifestyle. Yeah, I hope so. It sounds good. But
you're making it sound easier than it is. But yeah, no, I agree.
But that's
I'm
for
on
me
the same
though.
page as you.
But that's me. It might be easier for me than it is for somebody else. You know what I mean? That's not everybody. Not everybody has that mentality. Like even with the NA, like you said, you were in NA. Even things like AA and stuff like that. For me, that wasn't a model that worked for me, but it works for millions and millions of people. I have nothing against it. I'm not trying to say anything bad about it. It's just harder for me to keep clean because not surrounding myself with those type of people and hearing the stories every day made it harder for me to keep the sobriety. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because like
keep yourself on yourself. Basically, it makes it hard. It does. You're right.
no,
I've heard that before.
there's good principles involved with it. You know what I mean? And good steps that you can do to keep that sobriety. But one thing that I feel gave me an upper leg was I had done some Tony Robbins stuff previously in life, and so
Mhm.
like using some of those Tony Robbins mentalities also helped me achieve that sobriety.
I could see that
Y-
totally.
yeah, I mean, and it's fascinating stuff, and it's still, and it's you can use the Tony Robbins stuff and apply some of those methods to anything in life and get success. you know
It's so fucking crazy you just said that. So like here's the thing. Like even like with in regards to NA, AA, CA, they're all the same shit. Different fucking they're all from the same animal, just cut a little bit differently. But it's funny when you talk about steps. I'm gonna tell you something funny about the steps, and it took me my first year to like come to realize you hear the steps and you're like, the fuck are these steps? Bro, when you look at it, the steps are not even steps. They're literally the shit that your mom and your dad and your uncle and your aunt and all these other fucking adults taught you as a growing up.
Right.
Like, as you're growing up, be honest. Don't lie to people. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Don't treat people like shit. It's really that easy. And, it's hard to follow them all the time. Don't get me wrong. Like, anybody tells you, oh, I live a perfectly clean life, they're fucking lying to you. Don't believe any of that shit. I don't believe anyone who tells me that type of shit. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. I'll listen to you. I might not tell you off to your face, but I'm gonna be sitting in my car being like, "Fuck that guy's bullshit." I don't believe that.
Hmm.
But when you look at it, the steps they're just simply teaching you how to be human again, right? So like, if you're using Tony Robinson, I mean, like same thing, bro. That guy knows his shit. He's got his shit together. He's giving you motivational ways to be able to step away and step into new things, which is important because I think that's the biggest thing about us is that we become so intertwined in this lifestyle that comes with the drugs. Like people are like, "Hey," I remember in high school, you call up your buddy, you're like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" They're like, "Oh, we're just hanging out at Rob's house. We're on the driveway smoking joints." Well, that's what you got in commonality with all your buddies. You're smoking weed with them, just chilling out, hanging out. Cool. But then when that changes to, hey, we're going up to the cottage, and everybody knows what that means. You're gonna do drugs and pop pills and fucking go crazy and go to the clubs and get a cab and do this and do that. And you're not going to sleep for the whole weekend. It becomes a routine thing. And again, it's not hard to break that routine. It's hard to break that routine and then have nothing to rely on and fall on. Because before you'd be like, I'm relying on the drugs and these people that I do drugs with. When you stop doing drugs, it's like you have no one to hang out with because everyone you hang out with does drugs. And then the people that don't do drugs, you feel uncomfortable around because you feel like they're thinking that you're a drug addict.
Yeah.
That's all you are. And then you become uncomfortable everywhere you go. So you isolate. And you know what that happens afterwards? You just go back to doing drugs again.
Yep.
So like I feel like I use the rooms in this manner. And it's funny when I say rooms, I'm talking about NA, but like I made some friends in there that were like give or take around my age. Some guys had a lot of clean time, some guys didn't. But you end up making friends with people, and then you have people to hang out with. You have people to talk to. You have people to hang out and go to get a coffee with, or go to the movies, or go out to because I still go out and party. I still go out to bars. I still go to nightclubs. No, I don't go to nightclubs now. I'm fucking 42, but like I'll still go out. I still go to cottage parties. I got invited to 2 Halloween parties on Saturday. I'm still gonna go. Am I gonna get fucked up? No, I'm not gonna get fucked up. I might smoke a joint. I may have a drink, but like that's as far as I'm going. Like that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
it's
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 interesting that that works for you and you can do that, but some people it doesn't work for. I have
no,
this ex girlfriend, and although we never used together, we had our own separate battles, and like she got clean, I was clean, and she got hardcore into religion. And she wanted to try to maybe get back together, maybe just be like a roommate situation, which could have been, but because I'm close with her family and everything. But she like I couldn't do anything, and like I said, I still smoke weed and drink, and even if I didn't bring it in the house, I still couldn't talk to her if I was doing that. And she wanted me to not watch PG-13 movies, Meyer. I'm like,
yeah,
this
no,
is
I believe
crazy.
it.
But
There's people like that, man.
some people have to go that extreme the other way
Yeah,
to do it. So it's a personal experience and it's different for everybody.
yeah. It's
You
funny
and
you
I
say
can
that.
function around other people and be all right. Some people, I guess, just can't.
Yo, because we don't know everybody's situation. I've heard some fucked up stories without getting into names and stuff, without going too much details. I know a person that, like, great looking chick, like a 10 out of 10 body, great face, everything's good. She lives the NA life. But, like, here's the thing, she doesn't have any contact with, like, the outside world, bro. It's like
Right.
all your friends are in NA. Every night you're at NA. You go out with NA people. You do this with this. Everything is NA. And, like, even talking to this person, it's like I'm telling you a story. Like I say to you, I'll have a drink at New Year's. It's my dad's birthday. I'll have a drink on his birthday with him. Cheers, happy 70th birthday. And she would be like, "Oh, that's not living clean. That's not this, and that's not the right way of thinking about it. You need to think about this." But then you hear her story, and you're like, "Well, shit, you had a kid at 24 years old, or 20 or 30 years old, whatever the case is, with some guy you just randomly met, who today is a homeless guy living on the streets." So I can see why your point of view on this after 14 years of being clean is like this, and it's a trigger for them because they don't want to be around any of it. They're like, I don't want anything to do with any of this shit. Doesn't matter if it's an alcoholic drink or fucking marijuana or any. I don't want it. Zero. And they've decided to live that way. I mean, like for me personally, I think that everything has its dues. So that means that, like, if I need to take something away from learning from someone, right? I do it in a manner where it's like I'll fish into it and I'll learn from it, but I'm not guiding my entire life based on this one reading, because there's things in life that are going to happen that this book is not going to be able to help you with, or this
Yeah.
this concept is going to be help you with. The same goes with people, like you're not going to go to a grocery store clerk and ask him how about your mortgages. You're not going to go to
Right.
you're not gonna go to the guy who's a cobbler making shoes and be like, "Hey, how do I build a house?" You know what I mean? Like he's gonna look at you like, "Well, let me tell you how you build a house made of shoes." you know. But
You're gonna need a lot of
you
rubber for the
you need to
soul.
have you need to have the right tools for the right situation, right? Everything has a different situation. Everyone has a different situation, so everybody has a different solution.
So
But
hold
the
on,
one thing people,
let me ask you real quick.
yeah,
Speaking of tools, and the steps, I can't remember the guy's name that wrote the book, the big book, I think they call it.
Alan something, Alan
Yeah,
Carr, I want to say his name
Alan.
is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, Alan
Um,
something.
but one of the things he wanted to do was use LSD as a tool
Oh,
for sobriety. So I wanted to know your opinion on that.
so here's my thing. Honestly, I'm not gonna name names again because I do know some very, very well-known people. Hockey. I'm gonna use hockey as the example. Okay, so my buddy played hockey
How
for years,
Canadian
and
of you.
they're yeah, they're both from my area. And actually, I know a bunch of hockey players, obviously, because
Hey, my
I
Golden
go around.
Knights won last night, so I'm happy.
There you go. Oh, you watch hockey?
Yeah. Well, once Vegas got a team, I started watching. That's when I
You,
became a
you
hockey
might as
fan.
well. You might
Yeah.
as well.
And we already got a
Fucking
cup.
right. You did, yeah. Of course, you won a cup. They bought that shit.
Well,
you guys in FanDuel, you own the sporting world right now. So here's my thing. So right now, this guy was a hockey player. He won a couple of Stanley Cups. He's done well for himself in life, and uh, people caught him attempting to off himself a couple of times,
mm,
and they needed to address this, and at first they were thinking it's something similar to the NFL players and getting hit and like brain injuries, yada yada yada
like CTE and
yada. And
stuff.
they used funny thing is he's fully invested in this shit now. So like he's even got part ownership in what I'm about to tell you. But what he's doing is magic mushrooms, microdosing.
Hmm.
And with LSD, that's what they were planning on doing was microdosing LSD with some people to get them in a specific state of mind to be able to kind of like a mind control, but without mind control. You get what I'm saying to you? Like remove you from that state of mind, put you in this state of mind,
Hmm.
and try to heal you in that manner. Because the whole point of LSD wasn't to get you high to get you high. It was to get you high to heal you, to
Yeah.
come up with
Well,
a
one of the
solution.
popular things today is people go on these ayahuasca journeys to cure some
My
addictions.
my cousin just did that. My
Yeah.
cousin's got 20 some odd years of clean time, and I was telling you off air, off recording, of what happened with him and his son earlier in the summertime. And him and his wife both went. And the funny part is, like, it works. For some people, it works. It's not to say it's going to work for everybody. I mean, like, I could I could sit there and tell you I've never done LSD, but I'll tell you I've done mushrooms thousands of times.
Yeah, I've done, and I haven't
For
done them that many, but I've done my
now,
fair
maybe
share.
not thousands, but I've done it hundreds of times, hands down, no questions asked. And and I've done it in microdosing. And I'll tell you something. Maybe the situation that this gentleman that I know is doing is a lot different, but he himself, he's in a place where he's happy, he's living normal, he has no more fucking retarded thoughts in his heads, and he's trying to make it fucking mainstream, bro. He's trying to make this shit blow up and be like something that can potentially help other people. Because you know what? Hey, if it works for the most fucked up guy, it may work for you too. You know what I mean? Not to
Yeah.
say it will, but it could. So
Well, I
that's
mean,
my thing on using other drugs to be able to get off drugs. I mean, like, the possibilities are there.
well, I don't like it when people will like quit heroin and then take up methadone. That's not any
Yeah, so
better.
that's just fucking retarded. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
If you're gonna, you might as well just use heroin to get clean. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. So that reminds me of, like, the people that come in. Like, I see people and they're like, you know, they there's two types of people that come to the NA rooms. One is the people that are forced by the courts
Mm-hmm.
to go for some type of rehabilitation, and they got to sign in with, like, whoever's running the meeting that day and all this shit. And you got the guys coming in who are like, in reality, in their minds, and it's a lot of younger guys, in their minds, they're like, if I can just get this to be just a weekend thing, it's perfect. And you'll see them come in and they'll stick to it for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And all of a sudden, the guy disappears. And I had a guy call me the other day. I was on the highway and he's like, "Hey, I just saw you driving." I was like, "Oh, that's good. What's up?" He's like, I'm just driving on the same highway." I was like, "Oh, nice. Thanks for calling me." I'm like, "You clean?" He's like, "No, I'm still using every week." We go, "Well, bro, how are you gonna stop if you think you're gonna just do it on the weekends? Like, motherfucker, if it was already a problem, you're not gonna be able to just shake it. So if you're going from fentanyl or heroin and doing like this shit, right? It's not changing anything. You're just supplementing one for the other because you still want to get high. And the
Mm-hmm.
reality is, a lot of these guys that think that they're gonna quit and tomorrow morning they're gonna get married and they're gonna have kids and they're gonna make money. That's not reality. The reality is, you need to fucking, you know, go back to a place where you can restart and then maybe rebuild. A guy has been doing drugs since he was 17 years old and comes in and is like, "I need help," and he's 28. Well, guess what, bro? From 17 to 28, you've had no growth. You've had no uh, mental growth in terms of becoming an adult. You are still a 17-year-old child living in a 28-year-old's body who's been doing drugs for the last decade. So
Mm-hmm.
your first goal is, and all of them are the same, bro. Everyone that says the same thing. "Oh, I want to pick up girls. I want to get laid. I want to do this." That's cool, bro. Me too. I'm sure you do too. I'm sure fucking Joe Blow down the street does too. But hello, reality is simple. If you cannot handle, let's just say I got a buddy of mine. He's 28. This guy quit everything. Actually, I've never seen anyone quit like the way this guy quit. I was actually shocked. I was like, "Wow, you're fucking odd. Like, did you even have a drug problem?" He's like, "Yeah, man, it was huge." This guy had a fucking mental problem. Like, his problem was in his head because he's been living as a 17-year-old. He's 28, and you know the guy's like, "Oh, I want to pick up chicks, this, that, blah, blah, blah." And I said to him was, "Bro, if you had a girlfriend right now and you had some type of drama happen, you wouldn't even know what the fuck to do. You wouldn't know how to react. You wouldn't know how to address the situation, you know? Uh, because that whole time when and people like to say, I look around and everybody that's my age is successful and they're married and they have kids. That's probably because they weren't doing drugs between 17 and 28.
Yeah.
This period, they weren't doing the
Mm-hmm.
drugs. So, yeah, they're going to be there, bro. You can still catch up because if you're quitting at 28, By the time you're my age, you'll have 14 years. That means that in that 14 years, unless you're a useless fucking prick or you have really bad fucking luck, you're going to do nothing with your life. But if you do, you can have your own podcast. You can have a regular job. You can still have a family. You can still pick up where you fucked up and still try to maintain something and keep going with your life, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, it took him so long because this guy, and I love this guy like a brother. Like, he's like legit, like family. So I love him, like, totally. And he told me one day, he's like, I needed to stop thinking that way, that like I can, just because I got clean, all this gonna land on my lap. But like I told him, like 8 months ago, you didn't have a job. 8 months ago, you didn't have a girlfriend. 8 months ago, you didn't have a car. I'm like, look at yourself. I'm like, you're working, you're making fucking great money as an electrician. You're fucking some checks, you're picking up girls, excuse my language to any women watching. But like, you know, these are the same things that a woman will go through. And, you know, you have a relationship and you're experiencing things that you didn't experience during those years of your drug use. Because you know what? That took precedence over everything. And it's so fucked up because that includes me. That includes you. That includes anybody who's on drugs today. That drug wants you. And the thing is, it's not just you. You may not even want that shit. You may go to sleep every night and be like, God fucking help me quit this shit. You know, kill me if worst case. And God's like, nah, fuck you, bitch. Deal with it. Figure this out. You're too healthy to die, motherfucker. You know?
Well, you know, like you said, like your buddy had like some like a mental problem, and I think you know, I think I definitely have that too because like I have this thing where my brain doesn't shut off, and so it's like you know even just smoking a little weed, you know, can help change that thought process and step back and think and approach things a little differently. And that's one of the things they say about the ayahuasca, and I'm sure with the LSD and mushrooms, it's a little bit similar. It's like doing a hard reset on your brain, you
That's
know,
right.
like you're doing control alt delete, you know, and starting that computer over, you know, and sometimes that's what it takes to get the brain and the neuro associations running properly, you know. So
Dude, I
it's
couldn't agree
powerful
with you
stuff.
more. It is. It's a fucking scary. It's a scary concept, man. Like people who don't have an addiction problem or ever had an addiction to something will never understand because you can take the most spectacular, beautiful minded fucking human being and put him on drugs and watch him or watch her fucking deplete into nothingness.
Yeah.
And then like they'll get clean and all of a sudden you see them like, you know, it's like what's a good game where you could get like one ups? Super Mario. You're on your fucking last life, and then you get up and you knock that fucking thing with your head, and you get the green mushroom. And you're like
Yeah.
two up, you know,
Isn't
and
that
you see them
ironic that they used a mushroom?
right, and you see them rebuild, and you're just like shit, you know. Like I had a friend, my lawyer right now, and he used to be a big time fucking user, and the guy was like, you know, suspended for a long time and he did some fucked up shit. And today he's probably the best fucking lawyer I've ever used. You know what I mean? Like the guy's like on his game, but he also has like 15 years clean time. So like you look at it and it's like the opportunities are all there, bro. You wake up every day as a fucking gift, whether you're an addict or not, you know? So if you are, it's nice to fucking give yourself the opportunity. That's the other thing. People don't understand that you're just giving yourself that opportunity. You may fail. Doesn't mean that if you fail at something or you go get your driver's license tomorrow morning, you crash the car, you're not going to stop driving,
Hey,
right? Your insurance might go up.
people fail. That's why they make erasers, you know, on pencils and
Yeah,
shit, because people make mistakes.
whiteouts.
And it's only a
Yeah,
failure if you don't correct the mistake. You know, you learn from something. It's like Tony Robbins, one of the things that he says is like, you know, he had started a business and it failed, and everybody on his team was like looking over things and saying, oh, you know, what happened? And they had this attitude like, oh, we're fucked, we're screwed. How could this happen? But then he came in with the attitude of, all right, what do we got to do to get this going again? You know, and just, and it's, you change that neuro association. That's what they're called, neuro associations. Everybody bases those neuro associations based on pain and pleasure. I'm going to do this. Is it going to cause me pain or pleasure? You know, and that affects your decision making, you know? So it's all about changing that neuro association inside of you, you know?
your perception and perspectives towards
Yeah.
seeing out of your eyes, bro. Isn't it crazy that you guys talk about PCSs or whatever it is? You know, what is it called that Ted says? Some people are real, some people are
Oh,
just
and
like
NPCs.
NPCs,
Yeah,
PCSs,
non-playable
NP.
characters.
Yeah, you know, like sometimes I'm looking at my fucking eyes and I'm just thinking to myself, like, this guy doesn't see what I see at all, and it's fucking insane. You know,
Yeah, well,
but
that's just like the older family members of mine. My mother and her brothers and sisters. You know, they don't get it. They don't have that gene in them. They've never been drug takers and very rarely drink. But some of my cousins do. I obviously have my issues, but so they can't relate to any of this stuff.
no,
You know.
they really can't. My dad's the same way. Like, I can't go to my dad and be like, "Hey, I remember, I remember actually, my dad totally ignored it. He pretended like it wasn't even a thing. He was like, because I admitted to my mom first, even though
Yeah.
she already fucking already knew, you know,
Dude, how sad
and
is it that my mom knew and she bought me stuff just so I would feel better because I had to help her do something that day or whatever. My dad unfortunately never knew. I wasn't too close with my dad. And what's crazy is that I got sober. I went to Vegas. 3 weeks later, my dad passed away.
oh
Right as I
man,
was,
that's terrible.
getting out of it. So I never got to establish a relationship with him. And it's similar. My life's similar from 18 to 35.
Jeez,
I was partying. So, in some ways I'm like your friend.
yeah, man. So my friend though, when I said he had a mental problem, he's not crazy. Just
No,
to
no,
be
no.
clear,
That's not how I
it's just
took it.
the mental problem is more that, like, you know, you don't let yourself develop, experience things in life, and then you end up, you know, running and always running in your head, which is exact. I'm like that too. I'm running like a fucking my shit's on rabbit mode. You know, when you turn on the grass cutter, the weed
Yeah.
weed cutter grass cutter, you put on rabbit mode or turtle mode. Back in the day, people don't know what that is now. They have
Yeah.
electric fucking mowers, but it was like that. My dad was the funniest though. My dad was like, I remember my mom would be like, they fully knew. They knew, like, I didn't look like this. I looked terrible. I'm a skinny guy from the get go, but I was like at 140 pounds. I'm 180 right now, almost 6 feet, 5'10", 5'11" ish, give or take, and like I'm 172 to 180 right now. And back then, I was probably like 130 to 140. I was the
Yeah.
only one who didn't realize how bad I looked. You know what I mean? And my dad, when I even did the rehabilitation, the whole bit, my dad never talked about it. Never brought it up one time. But he did tell me after I had a year clean, he was like, "Oh, you got a year clean." He's like, "Good for you." You know, like, good job, motherfucker. But other than that, he wasn't like, "You're fucked. You're a drug addict. What'd you do with all the money that you made? What'd you do with this? What'd you do with that?" You know, he didn't really put it on me. My mom was more like, she was like, "Look at yourself. This is what you looked like a year ago." She's like, "I've been
Yeah.
waiting a year to show you this." And I saw the fucking picture, bro. And I shit you not, to this day, the reason why I'm still doing, uh, you know, recovery and personal shit to make sure that, like, I don't go back to being that way, you know, uh, is because of that picture. I shit you not. I looked at the picture and I was like, "Fuck that shit. I'm never
Yeah.
going back there again. Fuck it. It's never happening. Not today, not tomorrow. If it does happen, you know, nothing's to say I'm never gonna touch nothing ever again. If it happens, I'm gonna definitely have the right tools and right people
Yeah.
in place to be like, fuck it." You know, the biggest mistake people also make is with terms of like any, you know, just want to point out one thing before I say this. You did therapy, you said, right? You did
Hmm.
therapy. I did therapy too. For me, therapy didn't work. I found it to be very direct, and they didn't understand me,
Well, they
and
don't
they didn't
really say
understand what I was.
anything. Like what I would notice is like I would do all the talking and they would just sit there and then they're like, all right, time to go. Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing is too that, like, how can I put it for you? If I know you, if me and you know each other, we know each other on, let's just say, skin level right now, right? We're buddies. We know each other through your phone booth podcast. I've been in a couple of shows with you guys. I've spoken with you. I think you're a fucking great guy. I think your entire group of friends are fucking amazing. And like these are the type of people I'd want to be around, even if I'm just online or doing a podcast or hanging out with some. You guys would be the type of people I would hang out with. So the way I see it is, if you have a problem, the guy sitting across there getting paid $250 is listening to you because he's getting paid. He doesn't give a fuck. That's number one. He's got to deal with another guy right after you, you know? But the other thing is, they never take the time to get to know you. They want you to pay them to get to know you so that they can judge you and tell you what's wrong with you. But the reality is, if you don't know me and you don't understand me, how are you going to help me? It doesn't make sense. And when I went to my first meeting, my sponsor now is like my best friend. Me and this guy, he's fucking family. He's not even my, like, I don't call this guy to be like, hey, I gotta go use drugs, or hey, I gotta go to a meeting. It's not like that. I'll call him up, be like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, nothing. I'm like, you betting on the games tonight? You know, like regular conversation. But I'll tell you, he knows me fucking inside and out. So if I ever actually have an issue, even if I'm making a decision on something that's, obviously I'm not going to him and be like, hey, I'm buying a house. Give me your fucking opinion. I don't give a fuck about his opinion when it comes to that. When it's like, something related to like my family, kids, this, that, I'm like, hey, what would you do in this situation? And he may give me his what he would do. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm going to use it, but I can definitely use it as my tool to be able to have a different perspective from somebody else. And I do that. But I've noticed there's a lot of people, they go out and if they use, they get scared to even come back to these rooms because they feel like they're fucking, like there's something to be embarrassed about.
Yeah,
Bro,
like they let people
no
down
offense.
or something.
Everybody in these rooms got the same motherfucking problem. We're all a bunch of fucking drug addicts who are here because if we weren't here, the chances that we'd be out there using are more than likely. And that gives you a safe space, bro. Like that's the thing I really love about NA. And this is the only thing I'll tell you. The one thing I fucking love about NA has nothing to do with the cultish way they operate. Has nothing to do with the fucking, the preambles with the reading all this shit. None of that fucking shit means anything. I couldn't care less. It's not even about the steps. The steps are very simple. You learn how to be human again. But the most important part is when I get to go into a room, and I don't like going to the same exact meetings. And the reason for it is because you see the same people. I don't want to hear the same shit all the time. I don't want to hear the same exact story. I need to hear the guy who's like, I fucking went to the top of the building last night and I was going to fucking jump. Instead, I called this guy and I decided to come here today. Because I'll tell you, that could be me. That could be me one day. That could be me tomorrow. I don't fucking know. That could be my kid in 10 years from now. That could be you in fucking a year from now. That could be anybody you fucking know. You know what I mean? And the way I see it is when you hear those type of fucking shake up stories where you're just like your brain gets rattled, it really puts things in perspective for me where it's like, I need to appreciate some of the shit that I got around me. Like, I don't have debts. I don't have fucking money problems. I don't have a real family problem. Yeah, me and my ex aren't together. It means nothing. Me and her are super tight. She's my fucking best friend. I know I call her 10 times a day as if she is my fucking wife, even though we're not together. But, if it wasn't for the fact that I'd be able to go to these places and be able to like sometimes drop my fucking load on everybody. Like, it's like, fuck it. Dropping it all. Fuck it. I had a fucking rough week. Fuck these people. If it wasn't for this, I would have done this. I wanted to fucking kill the guy. And be able to do that, I'd have to pay somebody to listen to me. And that somebody wouldn't give a fuck about me. Like, that's the other thing, Like, these other people in the rooms, they may be listening and they're going to come up to you at the end. They're not going to talk to you right there because they're just listening, right? They're going to come up to you and be like, yo, I had that same fucking situation. And you're going to be like, tell me all about it. Tell me about how you dealt with that situation. And the thing is, in those type of safe spaces, in those type of places, doesn't matter if it's, again, NAAACA, just, it could be a men's group for all it fucking matters. Like, they have them now, And the thing is, honestly, no offense against the women, but women have this shit. Like, it's existed for them a lot. Like, they could go do this stuff all the time, Like the yellow brick house, this place, that place. I got abused. Okay, there's abused women. Like, all this shit existed for them. For men, it doesn't exist. So recently here, they did men's groups where people are just meeting up and they're just fucking venting, bro. And to me, I find that to be a way better concept than a therapist. And that's why I was asking you, was because I found therapy to be real fucked up. I was talking to this guy, and he got introduced to me by my fucking family doctor, and she's a great lady. So I was like, well, let me try this guy out. The fucking conversation that ended everything was this. He's like, the reason why your wife probably left was because your procrastination. I'm like, because listen to this. Listen to where he comes up with the judgment to this. First of all, if you know me, I don't procrastinate because I'm that guy that like I have ADD, bro. If I got to do it, I'm just getting it done now. Like that's it. When I'm done that, I'm finding something else to do. Like
that's why I like to podcast in the morning. I don't want to think about it all day. I want to do it right away. Get it over with.
The moment you were like 11 a.m. Pacific time, okay, I was like, I'm in. I'm in. Don't worry. I'm in anytime. I work on my own hours. And then I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
But no, it's okay. Oh, so the guy goes to me, he's like, because I talked to him about light bulbs. He's like, maybe it's because you didn't change your light bulbs and your wife got upset about your podcast. I said to the guy, I was like, hey, David, you ever have a great fucking day? I'm like, I don't want to have any more meetings with you. I go, this is bullshit and you're wasting my fucking time and my money. And I fucking ended the Zoom call with him. I was like, go fuck yourself. Because this was like right after COVID too. We were still doing Zoom calls all day,
Yeah. So that's when I stopped. Well, there's two reasons mainly. Like the lady that I was talking to was a little bit younger, and I started to feel like every time I would go in there, I felt like I was educating her. And I didn't like that. I was like, this is not the way it's supposed to go, I don't think. Like I would never get advice like that, And then once COVID hit, everything started to go to Zoom, and I was like, well, fuck, I don't want to talk about this shit on fucking Zoom with you. Fuck that. I was like, call me when you're back in the office and I'll come back, But we got just a couple more minutes. I gotta bounce here pretty soon. So you got any final thoughts? Anything you want to add in?
You know what? I appreciate you having me on. We're gonna do this little collab. It's fucking beautiful. I love it.
Great.
I'm more than happy to talk about this type of concepts and this type of topic anytime. Anything with you, anytime you want. That's number one.
For sure.
Number two, if you're watching this, guys, make sure you get into the Here's the Thing podcast Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you.
With Snoop. He's a fucking beauty. I love this guy. And the whole phone booth podcast family, you guys are fucking beauties. I love you guys, honestly.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have been able to do this podcast and stuff 10, 12 years ago. There's no way I would have been able to do it, but because I'm clean today, or California sober, as they put it, I'm able to function.
Cali sober.
But I want to add one thing in there, that if anybody out there listening and watching, don't be afraid to step into these meetings and explore it and see what works for you. And if it's not working, don't get discouraged. There is maybe something else that can work for you. And that's really the whole goal of even talking about this stuff today, is to encourage people to not, be afraid, and know that everybody out there is similar and has a story. And that's one powerful thing about those meetings, is that you go and you meet these people that have a similar story, or even if it's not a similar story, they have a story, and you can sit back and go, oh shit, you're just like me in this way, like we're all, out there and seeking the type, we want to know that we're not alone in this world, and that we're not the only ones.
You're not alone, bro. That's what I was gonna say right now, is that, listen, you're not alone. If you're dealing with fucking struggles and it doesn't matter what it is. I'm no one's there to judge people. Everyone's dealing with their shit. But if you're struggling with things, just like Snoop just said, reach out, man. Go
ahead. Hit me up in my DMs. If you need help, hit me up in my DMs. Hit Myer up.
My name's right there at the bottom. That's my fucking X name. Just fucking reach out there. I'll open up anybody can send me a message. But yeah, do it. Snoop is absolutely right. And at the end of the day, you're helping yourself.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Myer. I think this was a real fun episode to do, and I'm glad we did it.
Thank you, brother.
One last thing: are the Blue Jays going to win tonight?
No, I'm not rooting for the Jays.
Oh, you're not?
Don't tell me. No, so I decided, just before we go, since FanDuel is doing all the sponsorship for everything, I decided everything's fixed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they
I feel
won
like
last
everything's
night.
fixed.
They won last
They
night,
did.
so they're
Yeah, they
only
won
what?
last night. Why are you rooting for the Jays?
Well, I just don't like the Dodgers. I'm not even really a baseball fan, to be quite honest. I
Neither.
watch the
I
Cubs.
play
I follow the
baseball.
Cubs. I did when I was a
Are you a
kid.
Cubs fan?
Yeah. But
Boy,
I mean,
I
everybody
feel
hates
sorry
the
for you.
Dodgers out here, so it's just like you got to go with the other team.
Fair
But
enough. Yeah, I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan, but I just feel like the Dodgers are meant to win. But I feel like it's looking like the Jays will win it all at the
that
end. But
18 inning
tonight's
game,
game is gonna be Dodgers.
that 18 inning game the other night was fucking wild.
That was fixed.
Okay. Probably
100%.
I believe
I'm
it.
just kidding. I'm kidding. It's all entertainment, just so everybody knows. Minus the NA stuff and the addiction stuff. That was not entertainment.
But all right,
All
thanks
righty.
again, Meyer, dude. And
Your beauty.
dude, I
Thank
think
you.
we should do a bonus follow-up episode of this sometime and talk a little bit
Anytime,
more.
brother.
All right, dude.
You
I'll
know
talk
where
to you
get me.
later. All right.